What's up, everybody? Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to the Canes Insight Daily Podcast powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Got a lot to talk about today. Staff departure. Zach Ethridge joins running back coach Matt Merritt with the Arizona Cardinals. So Miami's cornerback coach on the move. We'll talk about that. Also some more staff movement in the NFL, some former Canes recruiting. Of course, Canes baseball, big win yesterday. Looked good. I was out there at the light. Appreciated seeing everybody. So we'll talk a little bit about that. First, want to shout out Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Pete, hop in.
This is bad.
This is bad?
This is bad, man. This is
What's
bad.
bad about it?
This is really bad. I feel like LeBron in 2010. Not one, not two, not three. You got a lot of coaches to replace here, and we don't know that it's done yet. I hate to pat my back on this situation, D, but yesterday on the show we talked about. You asked me directly about Ethridge and Harris, and you know the job they've done, and I think we've both been on board and what they've done with this defensive backs room, right? Not only bringing the talent in, but coaching them up. It's one thing, and I said, hey, I hope they stay. I think some of these NFL hires are not done yet necessarily. Obviously, that ended up being the case yesterday. I hope you can retain Will Harris. I don't know. Again, I don't know that one's completely locked in yet. And here's the thing, D. We've talked about it. Are you concerned about losing your tight ends coach who probably left on his own accord? That's fine. One coach gone. Are you in a vacuum concerned about losing your running backs coach and Matt Merritt? A position that generally, if you have the talent there, you know, you'll be all right. I think you're fine with that. Okay, that's two coaches. You got another one now, third. Now you've got to replace three different coaches. To me, I don't know that the hit rate on coaches, like how are you going to, it's the more you have to replace, the harder it is, right? To be able to go 100% in hitting these D. And defensive back is a position of coaching. Miami hasn't always had the greatest run there, right? I'm concerned. And as Canes Cat C305 says, he says, yes, when your coaches are going to the league, that means we're elite. That's one way to look at it, but those guys aren't our coaches anymore. We've got to get three more coaches at least, because I don't know that this thing is done yet, D. And here's the other thing. You are in mid-February here. The timing is not great. Now, a lot of coaches are locked in. You can go, now that everyone's kind of settled, you can go and try to figure out who's not too happy already a few weeks into their new jobs. But you're mid-February, man. You got spring practice starting here in a month plus. You have missed on hiring at least one guy that I know of at one of these positions. It's not a good situation, in my opinion, D.
Yeah, not even a drip of panic here. Like Canes Cat says, this is what happens when teams are doing well. It happens at Ohio State. It happens at Alabama. It happens at all the programs that you were trying to be year over year. So it's nothing new to the Canes. You're keeping both coordinators. I mean, if Heatherman were to leave,
we hope so.
In late February or March,
we hope so, D. I don't know.
You never know.
Do we know that for sure? I don't know.
You never know. Some coach gets caught in like a sex scandal or something, and then someone has to replace him, and then there's a domino effect that leads to your guys leaving.
I don't even know that it needs to be that. I don't even know that it needs to be that, quite frankly. But
there needs to be opportunities. Right now, there's a lot of not that many jobs that need to get filled. But I think that would be an upgrade. So if you keep your coordinators, you're not really panicking. To me, the guys I was really worried about losing here were Lewis and Taylor, which could still happen. Like you said, these things are not – there's not like a portal closing date for these coaches. But those are the ones I was really worried about just because of how important that defensive line position is, how important technique is. Ethridge did a great job. He's the reason why Keontae Scott is a Miami Hurricane legend there. That was not happening without Ethridge. You look at the defensive back improvement from year over year with him and Will Harris teaming up there with he was cornerback coach. Harris was a safeties coach. It was almost like two DB coaches. Incredible improvement year over year at that position. A lot of that was recruiting, which he helped as well with that. But ultimately, to me, if you're not losing Heatherman, you're not losing Shannon Doss, you're not losing your defensive line coach, you're not losing Alex Mirabal, you're not sweating it. You are congratulating Coach Ethridge on going to the NFL because all these position coaches, not at Miami, everywhere in the country, would rather go to the NFL, not recruit, not deal with the portal. So everybody's trying to make that move. Miami's hiring coaches that are good enough to make that move, and they are having the success to back that up. All good things. There's going to be a hot league desired job. I think the key is the chemistry.
That's what we said about these other two jobs, though, D. Running back and tight end, and it doesn't seem like that's been the case.
Pete, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. I can tell you right now, being around it.
Pete, I mean, D, they've had the job opening for weeks here, man. I mean, that I'm just telling you what it is. Like,
one thing I could tell you about coaching searches, and I consider myself pretty far inside this deal. These coaching searches are so deep. You might know 2 things that are happening, and there's 30 things happening.
Trust me, I understand. I understand how it goes.
I mean that public, even the insider public. That's kind of how these things go. So I'm not sweating it. It's just common sense. If you're paying these guys a lot of money, if you had look at the coaches that have been hired, even since we were bad in 2022, they've all been top of the market guys with a ton of market value. Forget just the Canes, market value, big names. They get paid a lot. Someone's going to fill this job. My big concern, Pete, and I don't have any panic mode, but if I do have a concern, it's, look, you had Ethridge and Harris together who had great chemistry. They worked together tremendously. It's a position where you can't have 2 guys on different pages because the players themselves need to communicate. Right? I remember we had Kevin Steele and Jamil Adai. Keep calling him the running back for the Colts, but Coach Adai, who was an NFL coach, Steele, longtime defensive coordinator who had success, and they were terrible. And they had DJ Ivey, Tyreek Stevenson, who's a starter, Cam Kitchens, who's a star in the making, James Williams, who switched positions, but is also a pro, started games this year. So you basically talk about 4 guys that played in the NFL this year on defense as your secondary, plus the Corey Couch, I think was a nickel that year. He wasn't even that bad. So you had a good talent at the secondary, but because the communication was so bad in 22, that was one of the worst pass defenses in the country. So that's the concern you have, is that they might not be on the same page, but that's really my only concern. We'll see how that goes. I mean, look, like you said, Harris might leave. I mean, all these position coaches, not Miami, college football, are trying to go to the pros.
Right.
They don't recruit, they don't deal with the portal. That's just, not everybody has the opportunity to go. So maybe that opportunity arises for Harris and you replace them both at the same time. But chemistry would be the only thing I really worry about, not the quality of the candidate. We're going to get somebody with a high market value.
Yeah, as Kyle says, he says just let Harris coach the entire room, and Terry Jefferson can assist. Terry Jefferson, who his title was nickel corners coach this year. So maybe they do something like that, and there's kind of just a little bit more picked up by each guy. But I'm personally, D, I think they're going to try to hire someone. I think Mario likes to have a big staff.
Yeah, let's float some names here. A lot of these same names always get discussed. Corey Raymond, we've been talking about forever. I know he was on the 247 list. Unless something weird happens with Kiffin, which is always possible, and there's like a window, which with Gaddis, or not, that was a great hire, but that was a guy that was not pegged to leave Michigan, but then there was a little bit of a division with.
That's my concern here, D. I think here's the problem, D. And this is 100% real. Like, people can think I'm trolling or whatever. I think this is a very good job, great job for all these open positions. I'm not saying it's not, D, but you work on a time crunch here now. You are now, whether you say it or not, okay. You can roll your eyes. You're working at it. You have spring ball here in a month, and you need guys to be recruiting. Okay, you can roll your eyes all you want. Do you end up hiring someone because they are a big name, not because because that's just shoot, I got to get someone in here, right? That's my concern. I'm not saying they can't hire 3 phenomenal coaches, 3 guys who have great pedigree and all that, but are they actually? Or are they hiring someone that they have to get in here now because, hey, everyone else has their coaches. We got to get out there and get our staff filled. Like, I have a hard time believing you could hit on 3 of them now in crunch time situation, because that's what this is.
I think it's the complete opposite. The time is as good as it's going to get. I mean, you just signed all your high school guys. So if I go to Green Tree right now or to the facility, Dunnigan's there, Wyman's there, Redding's there, Waters is there.
So
Jennings
who's recruiting? Who's recruiting now for these positions?
Those guys signed in December. So
who's recruiting? Who's recruiting for the next recruiting class that a lot of these guys are visiting now in the spring and visiting here in the summer? That you don't want to fall behind on these recruit. Hey,
it's the same guy that's always recruiting, which is the head coach. But you have.
I mean, listen, I would say that I would say it's important to have your position coaches in place, man.
It is, but we're talking about December signees. The portal is really the time crunch. Omar Thornton's on campus. Who else did we sign? We didn't have a huge class. Conrad Hussey. We didn't have a huge class with those guys. So all those guys are here. So you have until December till guys start signing again. So they got plenty of time to do what they need to do. As far as coaching these guys up, Will Harris can handle it. Terry Jefferson can handle it. We're talking about guys that are returning players. It's not a room. It's not like you just brought in all the guys you brought in last year. You need to coach those guys up. You mean who you have it said in the secondary? Xavier Lucas, Frederic. These guys have been around. Bryce Fitzgerald, Poyser. So I don't think it's a time crunch. I don't think the staff should look at it or Mario should look at it as a time crunch. I think he should take his time. By the way, knowing Mario, he is going to take his time. We heard about his process with Satterfield, that clip that went viral where he was talking about the Satterfield said that Mario's process was like the longest process he's ever been involved with.
But here's the problem. Here's the thing that people are missing in that situation. He was offered the job.
Yeah.
So he didn't. So you didn't get who he wanted there.
Who are you talking about? Satterfield?
Mario at that point.
He ended up getting eventually.
Well, he didn't hire him that year though. He wanted him as his coach that year.
You got him the next year, it's whatever. But look at the history of Mario.
So you want us to strike out on our top choices, which I'm hearing we already have on some of these other spots, and D, I don't know what you're rolling your eyes for.
I know how these coaching searches are. It's not my first rodeo. What we know or what we think
we're good then.
So
we're fine. It doesn't matter who we hire. We should just trust exactly what happens, and we're good. We're good then. So I don't even know why we're talking about this then.
When I look at the track record of coaches that have been hired by this staff or by this operation, they've all been high market value coaches. They have not all worked out. You got to pick the right ones. That's the beauty of it. You got to pick the right ones. But as far as their desirability on a national level, there's always a lot of panic from fans. There's always a lot of worrying about this and that. And then you end up getting a big name. Now, they don't always work out because that's coaching. You got to have the right fit. But as far as getting guys that people want, Miami's going to get a defensive back coach to add to this room that other teams want. I'd bet my life on it. Other big time teams want. And they're going to pay him a lot. And they're going to want to come here because this is one of the best easiest defensive back jobs in the country. We're already good. We bring back everybody. We lose two guys. Let me say it differently. We lose two really good players with Thomas and Scott, but we bring back 4 starters at corner and then a 5th true freshman who played in the national championship game, freshman All-America at safety and Bryce Fitzgerald, another guy in Zechariah Poyser who was good for you starting all year, coming back. And then you have Omar Thornton coming in. So you have a ton before you can get to the freshmen and guys like that, you have a ton of experienced talent at the defensive back position. This is not a very hard job. You're going to get a very good coach who's going to get paid a lot, who's going to have a pretty easy job as far as the guys he has to coach. It's going to be a hard job in terms of recruiting because that's what Mario demands. And quite frankly, I'm not sure the best model isn't getting guys here for a couple of years, bringing in some players, coaching them up. They get tired of being, pushed to recruit at the level of the head coach, and they go to the pros. That might be how it goes. And you get them while they have all their energy to give. And before they get burnt out, they're gone. And you just kind of roll through them. That might be the way it ends up being.
I hope you're right, man. I'll say this, man. I think they find some Nancy Guthrie before they fill this staff.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that one goes. I'm not saying it's going to be fast. So I don't think it will be fast because it's actually the opposite. I think it'll be slow. These things take forever with Mario. We know because we do 5 videos before they hire somebody. So he definitely stretches it out for our benefit, but
I don't know that it's for our benefit. I don't know that it's for our benefit.
Not for our benefit, but it benefits us for sure. We'll be all right. Let's talk some names, Pete. Let's talk some names, Pete. I know you're thinking we're going to get I'm trying to think of the worst coach we ever had.
Honestly, I would love to go take Brandon Harris from Florida. I've been a Brandon Harris advocate on the show for a couple of years. He had some great pass defenses, man, at FAU, and then worked his way up. I'm on the Brandon Harris train.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Nick Monroe's a guy that's been named a ton because he worked with Heatherman. He loves to recruit South Florida. When he was at Syracuse, he famously recruited South Florida pretty good. Minnesota's had some good defensive backs. That's a name that just you always hear associated with our position. I know Azir Abdul Rahim. Gabby mentioned him on 247. That's someone who Mario worked with at Alabama. He's kind of been named before. So that's another name that makes sense. I love Brandon Harris, smart guy, coaching family. Ice was on the staff, wasn't he? Did he serve a role at some point? What was the overlap between Ice Harris and Mario? I'm curious about that. I'm sure he recruited the school when he was at Booker T. But
Don't remember.
Yeah, it's hard to. I don't know because you never know what the transition is. These coaches. That's another thing. These coaches shuffle in and out so much. I lose track of who's who and who's been where. It's like Tim Harris was here, right? So Tim Harris worked with Mario. So there must have been no family issue there. I think he left for a promotion. So it wasn't like he got fired. So that would not indicate any kind of issue there. But I love Brandon Harris. I think he'd be great. I think someone's going to want this job because at the end of the day, the coaching part will be very easy because you're just dealing with the returning players. You're going to push on recruiting, but you're probably going to land some 5-star players that you can put on your resume, and then you go to the pros or wherever you want to go to your next college job.
Need someone, man. So this is the most important hire of them all.
Well, we'll see with Will Harris. I mean, we'll see what happens with him because I do agree that he could.
That one's a live target, man. You may need to revamp that entire room. Terry Jefferson might be running that show himself, man. Golly. And I think he could do it, but just saying, man. Double golly.
We'll replay all this when we do the reaction pod and some name brand coach that we can.
Here's the problem though. If it's a name brand coach, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's anything. Like I got to see these results, man. Miami's a different animal. We've had big name coaches here before that haven't done anything. That's why I'm like, man, like it's a tough one. It's a real tough one, D.
Listen, as long as the guy with the beard is there coaching the defense and Bryce Fitzgerald's getting picks, OJ Frederick, Xavier Lucas, all these guys are covering, I think we're going to be okay. For now, we got to recruit too. So we'll see how this recruiting class lasts. We'll talk about recruiting in a second. I like the guys we got on campus. Got to bring in some more. So we'll see. Real quick on Bagging Up asking about DVD. I don't see that one. DVD coming back. I don't know what you think on that one. DVD coming back. That's a good gig at Auburn.
Yeah, it's a good gig. I got to be careful when I talk about these candidates because they could be hired in 7 weeks when everything's wrapped up, 2 weeks into spring. But my thing with DVD is he's growing, I think, in a good rate outside of this program right now. I think that he was at Miami, right? I think there's two things to look at. Number one, he was here. Mario, for whatever reason, didn't keep him on staff, right? Maybe he wanted to get out of working here. The fans always said like he was a lockdown recruiter. I've been trying to wait to see who he recruited to Miami in that period, D. I mean, if he got credit for Cormani or for being close to Cormani or McClain, and Cormani McClain didn't come to Miami, and Cormani McClain hasn't turned out to be a great player. So like I struggle with that one a little bit.
Yeah, I don't see that one. I don't see it. Pete, I got a solution, by the way, to our clickbait situation because I know Mike challenged you. You said you've been slipping on your clickbait. Felt like it was a challenge. You took praise like Jordan. You took it personally.
I mean, again, though, this is not clickbait whatsoever. This is how. I mean, listen, D. You live in the beach. I live in Coral. I stepped outside in Coral Gables and I could feel the panic, the mode of panic. Like that big red button's been hit today, man.
I'm just saying, why don't we put a question mark in, like we're just panic mode engaged question mark instead of what's that double dot thing? Colon?
Double dot?
The double dot, like the thing on what's that?
That's a colon. That's a colon.
So instead of the colon, question mark.
I can oblige you on that one.
That question mark solves all our problems.
Yeah.
Engage, panic mode, just a little bit of that. So yeah, man. But I think we'll be all right. But we'll see. Listen, we'll keep you posted on the latest. If the panic mode escalates and that question mark becomes an exclamation point, we'll be talking about it here on the Canes Insight Daily podcast. By the way, how was the Valentine's Day dinner? It was good?
Great, man. Great.
Good. You were smart beating the rush. I didn't plan it, so I got to worry about it now today. Figure out what we're going to do. But I was out there yesterday at the light. Outstanding situation out there. Canes.
No panic mode. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. I was panicking when we went down 1-0, man. I was like, D-Money's done it to me again, man. He got me hyped up for this baseball team, and they're losing to Lehigh.
Yeah, man, 1-0, and it was actually dicey for a second later on too. It was 6-2 at one point, and we had to bring in our closer Ryan Bilka, which you didn't want to bring him in if you didn't have to. Brought him in basically. Oh, sorry, brought him in for one inning. Just checking the score. 13-2 ended up being the final. I brought him for one inning, and he shut it down. His splitter was looking nasty, and then boom, right away, the runs started piling on late. And I'm getting your freshman in there later in the game. But a really fun atmosphere, 3,000 plus out there at the light. A lot of Canes Insight fans. Shout out to everybody that said hello. Shout out to Kyle Seeloff. He gave Canes Insight a shout out on the official broadcast. The voice of the Marlins, Kyle Seeloff, who was commentating the Canes game.
And more importantly, the voice of Canes Hoops non-conference play.
That's true. Him and Zagacki are the voices of the Canes. I don't call him the voice of the Canes. So I don't want to disrespect the great Joe Z, but he's one of the voices of the Canes.
Well, we can call him the voice and face at the same time.
That's true. No smoke saying I saw Mensa was at the game. He was in the box. So there's like a coach's suite next to the stands. So he was there with a bunch of people. Orchid Man was out there in the booth. There's a bunch of people out there in that suite. But he was there.
I felt like the Orchid Man yesterday, man. I ditched the traditional flowers and I went orchid route this year.
Oh, yeah?
I was going to send you guys a picture saying I am the Orchid Man.
Oh, man. But yeah, man, it was a cool event. And yeah, Mensa was out there. I heard he was really cool taking pictures with everybody and like just being, gracious with his time and meeting everybody. He looked pretty big. Like I was worried about his size, just seeing him in pads, but just seeing him I wasn't up close, but just like, next to that suite, he looked pretty big, tall. He didn't look like he's not like 6 foot. He's probably good 6'2", 6'3". So, shout out to Darian Mensa. Laguna Fish not liking the headlines. You put the question mark. Oh, there it is. There's a question mark. Now, bro, we're chilling now. Now we're chilling. They can't tell us.
I was always chilling. You are chilling now. You were getting a little squeamish at the headline. I'm always chilling, D.
I was chilling with the situation. The headline, I was panicked. My panic mode was engaged on that headline.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's talk. Speaking of coaching news, Pete, pretty cool news coming out of the NFL, which is that the Los Angeles Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, signed a new inside linebacker coach, and it's someone very familiar. And I'm going to quote the nickname given to him by the great Steve Canine Kim, which is an awesome nickname. The Sixth Sense, Sean Spence, the new inside linebacker coach for the Los Angeles Chargers. He was at Western Michigan before as the defensive end coach, pass rush specialist, worked with the new defensive coordinator at Los Angeles, Chris O'Leary, who just basically brought him over. I think this is a natural fit. He played in the NFL, would have played for many, many years in the NFL, but had a nasty knee injury. We're talking about nerve damage type injury. Like, I think it was the preseason of his rookie year. So you never really got to see Sean Spence fully at the NFL level. Still played a bunch of games with that completely destroyed knee just because he's so smart. One of the, probably, if you were asking the smartest players we've had in Miami, I think Sean Spence has got to be extremely high on that list. We talk about the smartest players that we've ever had at University of Miami. And the fact that he knows the NFL, again, I just looked it up, 53 games this guy played with just completely shredded knees.
Steelers, right?
Yeah. And he bounced around too. I think he's with the Colts maybe, but what a stud. And I think he could be a kind of guy that maybe you're talking about a head coach one of these days, or like a Miami Hurricane defensive coordinator. He's on his way. He's got the pedigree, and this is a good gig.
I don't know, man. He's already in the NFL. He's gonna come back here to BDC. I don't know about that, man. People are leaving this place dropping like flies. I doubt that happens. But Spence was one of my favorite players, man. I mean, he was unbelievable. I remember in the state championship game, one of the weirdest, craziest plays I've seen was a punt. And it was almost like a hybrid punt return / block for touchdown that he had. Like the punter kicked it and he just like caught it and ran with it like midair.
Yeah.
It was like a super clean play, but that's what he was. I mean, he was just there in the right spots, and he was dynamic. He had a huge hit on Brandon James. You remember that one in his freshman year?
Yeah.
At Florida and Gainesville in the backfield. I remember that play was huge. He was starting day one at linebacker as an undersized linebacker, right? So absolute stud. Really wish he would have stayed healthy, right? Because that's, like you said, would have been a longer career than that.
But you know what? He's going to end up making a lot of money as a coach. I don't think he's one of these guys that's going to be just a coach. I think he's going to be one of these guys that in 5 years you're hearing Schefter talking about him as a head coach cut in the NFL kind of guy. I mean, I could see him ascending that way. By the way, Hankerson's still the receivers coach for San Francisco, right? So we got guys doing that. Hopefully Damian Lewis doesn't join them. Yeah, this is a really cool move. I remember John Drummond, our boy, Dan Ross. Shout out to Category 6. Shout out to Canes Unfiltered. He used to do highlight reels. I remember he did Sean Spence back in the day with the what's it called? It was 2 Chainz before he was 2 Chainz.
Titty Boy.
But it was like his group. Player Circle.
Player Circle. Yep.
Use that song. I forgot what it's called. Duffel Bag Boy.
Duffel Bag Boy. Yep. With Lil Wayne.
That was a song he used.
Go and get your money, little Duffel Bag Boy.
He used that song for all the Northwestern players. Sean Spence. I got to pull that up on YouTube now. I missed it. Just for
now. I want to just listen to it with the song.
We're getting old though, man, because we're watching all these guys from high school and now they're like NFL coaches. Between him and Hankerson.
Listen, D, you've said this now 3 times in the last week. You can say we. You can categorize yourself as that. I'm not categorizing myself as old yet. You can do that to yourself. I feel phenomenal. And I know you feel good too, but just you can stop lumping me in with you. I can call myself old when the time comes. I'm not ready to do that just yet.
What's your plan today? You got soccer?
No soccer today. That's on Sundays, man. That's on Sundays. So now I'm gonna hit the gym after this. I gotta stay fresh. But not only do I have to hit the gym, but of course I go to the campus gym. I have to make sure everyone's calm because the panic has been rising. So I need to go over there and really slow the situation
down. People down.
Yeah. That's what I'm here to do.
All right. So listen, if you really want to calm down while also maybe enjoying some time with your Valentine, holler my guys at ZONIN. So we talked to this ZONIN, man. This is one of our biggest sponsors, period, because I get the ZONIN crate at my house, right? We always get the sponsors crate of material. I got the ZONIN non-alcoholic, but of course, what they're known for is the alcoholic ZONIN Prosecco. You don't have to be an alcoholic to drink, but it has alcohol in it. And I pulled up with this crate. My mother-in-law was going crazy because this is her favorite Prosecco. Glance Roffers, he was on the show yesterday upon further review. He was saying his wife, that's what she drinks, ZONIN Prosecco. So you could drink one of the biggest wines in the world, one of the biggest Proseccos in the world, Italian winemaking family that's been doing this for decades, I think maybe even centuries. One of the best buys on Wine Spectator, 90 plus, according to James Suckling, who apparently is like the Larry Bluestein of wine. But you can get this all over the country. Total Wine here in Florida, ABC Liquors, Publix, you name it. But this not only a Florida deal. You can get this anywhere. If they don't have it, ask for it. ZONIN, ZONIN. Support a fellow Canes fan, Canes Insight fan, my boy Rob, who's taken this Italian sensation all over the country. And that's why it's blowing up, man. It's everywhere. So shout out to ZONIN.
I might need to have 3 bottles of ZONIN for each of the coaches we've lost. D.
I got crates, man. We can arrange that, or we can arrange it when we're celebrating some new recruits, Pete. And there's one recruit that I am super excited about. Process is still extremely early. Just released a top 10. This is a reclassified player from the class of 28. Now he's in the class of 27. And guess what? He's still a 5-star because this guy is a complete star. And people on CanesInsight.com with 7.9 million posts and counting have been waiting for me to try to pronounce his name. I don't think I can hit it accurately, but I will try. It is Marcus Facatu.
I was gonna say Facatu, but I can't say that I can claim that it's correct.
6'6", 275 out of Orange County, California. Same place we got Cooper Barkate and Vance Spafford. Number 2 defensive lineman in the country. Number 3 overall player in California. Just did his top 10. Miami's on it. His top 10 is basically, the top 10: Georgia, Miami, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, Penn State, Texas, and of course, USC. Also scheduled spring visits: Ohio State, Georgia, Penn State, Oklahoma, Oregon. And then from Oregon, he's flying cross country. This hell of a travel agent, flying from Oregon to Miami. And he'll be in Miami April 4th to April 5th. Then he'll take a break and they'll go to Texas, Michigan, and Notre Dame. So,
is that Northwestern?
Yes, this is against Northwestern. He destroyed Northwestern this year. Yeah. They came down and I think they beat Northwestern pretty good, if I recall. I might be wrong. Someone correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but if I recall, they won pretty good. But he definitely took care of business. As you can see, this guy is big. He was a sophomore at this time. He reclassed like an Armando Blunt. So sometimes you don't love when those guys reclass that are defensive linemen because their bodies aren't mature. But this guy is huge, man. I don't think he's going to have too much of a problem. But top 10, so still early in his recruitment, but Miami went to visit him, Damian Lewis. So you can track that down, that tweet, Pete, where Damian Lewis goes and visits him because he's a high priority player. Like I said, you have 2 players from Orange County. So even though California is now where you think you're going to go and get all the best players, Miami's had success there. Cristobal's been recruiting the West Coast well since he got here. I think the Oregon credibility has something to do with it, but now it's just all Miami's credibility, quite frankly. Look at him run this play down. This guy's a stud. This guy's, was he 15 in these pictures, in these videos? Unreal. They play Miami Central this year. Look at this guy's flexibility coming off the ball.
I'm looking for the picture here. Can't seem to find it. Oh, here
this to me looks like a defensive tackle. There he is. Man, he makes Damian Lewis look like a walk-on. This guy was a top 10, top 15 NFL draft pick. Look at this guy. He's got to be 6'6".
Yeah, he's not skinny either.
No, I think probably defensive tackle when it's all said and done.
Yeah, like Eric Armstead.
I like that comp. Good comp there, Pete. Nice weather over there in Orange County. But yeah, man, you don't fly to Orange County just for no reason. Damian Lewis obviously wants this player. We're in the top 10. That Poly connection. Right now, it's going a little, I won't say it's not going dry, but it's not as hot as you want. I would say right now, the players of Poly descent that we have, let me know if I'm missing anybody. S.J. Alafatuli at center, the big one from Bishop Gorman, Las Vegas. You have Keona Davis, who we just brought in from Nebraska, originally from Tucson, Arizona. He's also Poly descent. And then Izzy Briggs from Visalia, like northern-ish California. He is also a Poly descent. So you have 3. You had Francis was from the island, as was his brother. So I'd love to get that pipeline just a little more solid because we've done so much work there. We've recruited so many guys from there. We have Coach Misi Pekka on staff working overtime to make that happen. So I think we need more. We need more there. I mean, look, the guys we brought in, they weren't all success. Tinalau didn't work out, right? Not all of them worked out. But what's the guy that went to Sagapatelli? It didn't work out, but now Noah's top 10 pick. His brother
Sagapatelli ended up playing as a D tackle at Washington and being decent, I think.
Hey, listen, Washington was a real team, and he helped them. But obviously, our defensive line
we could have used that depth at the end of the year, but that's neither here nor there.
But we have I think we've had success. I mean, just with the Noahs alone. So I'd like to keep that pipeline rolling. And someone like this fits the bill to the T. They're going to be working overtime. Again, his top 10 is basically the top 10. Also played rugby, which is pretty interesting. So his background's kind of unique. This guy, I think his upside is still kind of untapped. So he played rugby, which is very common in Polynesian culture. He actually grew up. He did not grow up in California. Pete, I'll give you one guess of where he grew up, but you will never get it. It's a state. So it's in the United States. Where do you think this guy grew up?
Who?
The Fakatu, the guy we're talking about.
Utah?
Alaska. So grew up in Alaska, played rugby, now here stateside and is just sort of scratching the surface, man, because you see the ability that this guy has. So they have official measurements on him back last year. So this is in May of this is actually in April of 2025. So almost a year ago. 6'6.5". So 6'7", 265, 80.5 wings. So this guy's going to be 300 plus. I like the Eric Armstead comp. The more I look at it, I think that's a comp that makes a lot of sense because he's going to have that kind of size with that. With
similar body type. He's not skinny, man. He's not rail thin like some of these tall guys are.
Yeah. No, he's going to be a good player. A lot of reclass going on, Pete. That reclassification, one of the stories of this season is the reclass. We talked about wonderful Champ Mons on yesterday's show. We may be talking about this Neiman Lawrence reclass in a little bit. We may be talking about an Amir Sears reclass. So these are 2028 5-star type players. I don't know if there's going to be 5-star players left in the 28 class. Maybe those guys reclass from 29. But you're talking about potential 5-star guys, 2 just in South Florida alone, between Lawrence and Sears that we're watching. Mons from Fort Pierce already did it. Fakatu already did it. So we'll see how all those play out.
D, man, let me tell you something. Judging by the comments, I gotta say, people want more coaches to leave. They like coaches leaving. People are excited about these coaches leaving. I thought people would be upset. People are happy as clams out there. I mean, I don't understand it, but to each their own.
To tip your cap to Coach Ethridge. Great job. Did great for us. Our corners got a lot better. You did your bid. You brought in your players. He had the decency to act like he was staying until everybody was enrolled before he left. So, hey, thank you for your service.
Kane and A50 says, I would rather lost Harris than Ethridge. Man, you may get your wish. You may get both gone. Hope not.
Price of success. Honestly, though, the position coaches that I'm most concerned about losing, truly, and look, these guys may leave. So I'm not saying this because I don't think they're leaving. I mean, any one of these guys could leave. These coaching things, I always use the example. A sex scandal in a school that's not even on our radar has domino effects that lead to jobs opening. Like things like that happen. This is college football.
The Minnesota Vikings need an assistant linebackers coach or something, or an assistant defensive line coach, and they just pluck them. Like that's unfortunately how this thing can go.
Yeah, I think JT
doesn't need to be that.
JT might not be but one good thing with Damian Lewis and JT is that these guys,
I think they'll be pickier.
They're going to be pickier. They're already rich. They've been great NFL players. JT's case, a Hall of Fame NFL players. So like, they're not like they're trying to do what they can. They're trying to do their job to the best of their ability. And I've heard nothing but incredible things. You saw the results on the field. So obviously they're doing their jobs, but they're not the types that's like, man, I just need to get my foot in the door. Let me go to some city, move my family that I don't really want to be in. Like, I don't know if they're that locked in. They're looking for the right job. They have a good job. They probably have the best college job right now. I don't think Jason Taylor wants another college job. I don't think Damian Lewis wants another college job. I think really their eyes, maybe a defensive coordinator, but even then, it depends on where it's at. I would say what they're really trying to do is do this job to the best of their abilities. And if the right pro job, like the Dolphins, right, or Damian Lewis is from Texas, the Cowboys, something like that opens up, I can see it. But I don't know about just going to like some random place just because it's there. But they'll look, these guys are going to talk to everybody. But those are the 2 position coaches I'm most worried about. Not because I think they're better or worse than Ethridge or Harris. I just think that position and the way that we focus on it, both recruiting wise and teaching, that's a hard one. And I do think we had a big upgrade since we first got here with those 2. Those are the guys that we really need to keep as long as possible.
That boy says, I expected all staff gone except Mirabal and Mario. Just a couple more to go, and your expectations could come true, my friend.
More than a couple. We got both coordinators back, and then, like I said, those defensive line coaches are critical. Those are the ones I'm watching most closely as we get over here. I'll tell you what I'm always watching closely is the Scrap City Instagram, which is taking over the country. Shout out to Scrap City. You're looking for scrap metal recycling you can trust. You just found it. Scrap City. Recycling is beautiful when it's done right. So if you have scrap, whether you're a institution that just runs through a ton of industrial metal, you're talking about just electricians, plumbers, people you work with your hands, and you have scrap metal just from your job, your small business, or you're just cleaning out your house and you have scrap metal, you can get cash for it. So go to Scrap City. That's scrap-city.com. You can go to Scrap City Instagram as well, or you can just call 954-330-9472. Speak with their team. Pompano Beach, Delray, from individual loads to commercial volumes. They make recycling simple and rewarding, meaning money in your pocket. So if you have any kind of scrap metal whatsoever from your business, from your life, scrap-city.com. All right, Pete. So I hope you're walking through like a field or something to get your mind, your joy back here. Get your
Dude,
I'm pep in your step after these crippling departures.
Dude, I'm perfectly fine. I'm a little taken aback that people just think it's a whole nother day in Coral Gables down here. They got a lot of coaches to replace, man. They've got a lot of people to replace, man.
We need some 18-year-old from Cameroon to sign with a soccer club.
We need Jay Lucas and the boys to take it to Will Wade is what we need at 4 p.m.
Yeah, I saw we were kind of big dogs. But we're plus 5.5. I
mean, that's not big dogs on the road. That's about right. I mean, NC State's a tournament team. They're coming off a big loss to Louisville earlier in the week. So they'll come out firing. It's a good team.
So just looking at North Carolina State, let's see what's
Kadir Copeland's their best player, the point guard they brought in from he came from McNeese State with Will Wade.
So they are 9-3 in conference. We're 8-3 in conference, so a half game back for the Miami Hurricanes. 18-7 overall. We're 19-5 at home though. They are 10-3. They're actually, we're actually better at home than they've been. Some of that's the scheduling. So I think pretty evenly matched game. And you look at the teams on top of the ACC. Only 3 ranked teams, right? Well, actually, no, I take it back. So Louisville's ranked, North Carolina's ranked. So we got 5 ranked teams right now, but Miami's ahead of a couple of these.
I'm telling you, Miami wins this game. Duke and Clemson play today. Who, depending on who loses there, that regular season ACC title is within reach. D.
You know what?
Now their way.
Now I know why Duke was ducking us.
Yeah, that would have been the decider, man. That would have been the decider.
But no, huge game, and I mean it's amazing. I mean, you look at some of these teams in the ACC. Miami so quickly ascended up the ranks, man. We're right there with the big boys. You beat North Carolina State. Let's say Duke beats Clemson. Yeah, I mean, you're right up there with Duke and Virginia. I mean, from where we were last year to that kind of conversation, it is unthinkable, man. It's really something. I know our basketball coverage has been pretty strong all year, even in the offseason, but I think our basketball coverage is going to kick up a little bit even more as far as like the interviews and stuff like that. So that's going to be fun to watch. But what are you looking for in this game? Again, I haven't seen NC State play, seen us play. You tell me.
Well, there's been kind of a back and forth. I mean, both Jay Lucas and Will Wade, you can tell they weren't going to give anything to the media necessarily. Like yesterday, Will Wade pretty much came out and said, and I'll bring up the quote here now directly, but to me, it almost seemed like Will Wade was kind of he was giving us credit, but everything was talking about how physical and they're going to try to bully us. Like he was like, oh, the big man catches a lot of lobs. Like he was like Shelton Henderson can drive it with his right hand to the hoop. And then he said Malik Renew can drive it to the left hand with his left hand to the hoop. But like it was weird. He wasn't really giving. He made it seem like it was a very limited. I can't find it. I had it all written down yesterday, and now I can't find it, of course. But it was weird quotes from Wade's side, and then of course Jay Lucas talking about how tough and they'll jump on you and all that. But Will Wade, man, had some smug things to say, in my opinion.
Yeah, that'd be a great win to kind of shut him up, just especially playing the way we play. I mean, look, he is going to go to his right. It's going to be hard to stop when he is going to his right if you let him get ahead of steam. So
yeah, so here it is. He said He said they're big, they're physical, they play to their strengths. Coach Lucas does a great job. They have an identity, play to their strengths. Their strengths are how tough they are, how physical they are, and getting that ball in the paint. And D, I talked to an ACC assistant.
By the way, I think it's pretty accurate too.
That's accurate, right? That's accurate. I'll read you the next part. But it's funny because I talked to an ACC coach 3 games into the ACC schedule, and he said, and this is when we were trying to figure out how was Miami going to stack up. He said, Miami's going to win a lot of games because they're just way bigger than teams. Now, this is the quote. He said, Renew is able to drive it down there with his left hand. Shelton Henderson is able to drive it in there with his right hand. Big guy. He gets a bunch of lobs, a bunch of layups, a bunch of stuff around the rim. Donaldson's a good player. It was
it's not inaccurate. Report. It's not an inaccurate scouting report.
But it seems like, to me, like, you know, behind the scenes, it's almost like, look, these guys don't have the skill, sort of thing. That's what that's the vibe maybe I'm taking from it. But yeah,
look, that means Timo, True Washington's back. You know, guys are gonna have to hit shots. So True Washington is back, right? I mean, I know he's available.
Yeah, well, he's available. They're saying so. So I assume he plays. I would assume he plays. Yeah. I mean, the depth you need the depth in a game like this.
No doubt. And I mean, I thought he was playing well. You know, I mean, I understood it's tough. I mean, this is basketball. You know, when he goes out, Dante really shines. But that doesn't mean that when True comes back, you don't want to use him a lot, because I thought he was playing pretty well before he went out. So we'll see how the whole thing shakes out. But he does have some more of that perimeter skill that we thought he might have had coming in, and that Will Wade's talking about. So we'll see how that plays out. I gotta run. I gotta watch my son play football. So my middle one, Jack, I comp him to, he's like Cam Ward without the athleticism and with Chad Pennington's arm, because he just sits there in the pocket like with his feet like completely flat. Not
Let me tell you, man. This is what I was worried about with Cam Ward, man. He's affecting this generation negatively.
You know, he really is, though, in that way, because my son just sits there in the pocket, feet
like Curry. It's like Steph Curry.
Like he has nothing going on in the world. But obviously he can't move like Cam Ward. So the pass rush, as it gets better, will cause him problems. Then he throws it. Doesn't drive the ball at all. It just throws these like good spirals. I will give him that. But like they're like just very soft. And then I'm like looking, I'm like, man, where's this guy throwing? And then someone just runs under. It's the old Chad Pennington. So Chad Pennington mixed with Cam Ward without the athleticism is the scouting report on J Money, my middle one. But he's playing like what I tell him, man, as long as they're handing you the ball, you're doing good. Yeah, E Money's playing quarterback too a little bit, but he's a baseball player, so he has that weird baseball delivery. He has a stronger arm, but he's not.
Hold on though, you like it when we get the multi-sport athletes. So
he's better at safety. He's better at safety. He's better at safety. He's a center fielder, so at safety he just kind of like
little Eric Weddle.
Yeah, he just plays super deep, and he does center field. He just like, it's a little kid, so they're easier to read. He knows like, all right, this guy's going to throw to his best friend. He's probably going to throw a bomb, so he's smart. He just kind of waits back there and throws. But quarterback wise, Jack is actually the one. They both play a little bit of quarterback, but Jack is more of a full-time quarterback with that Chad Pennington anticipation. They're in the Miami Beach League, so we'll be at Stephen Ross Stadium here for this flag football deal coming up.
D, I know you got to go. I'll take this last comment here. And also, by the way, shout out to Aries Law PA for all the basketball coverage. Visit AriesLawPA.com for your estate planning needs. Plan your future and protect the people and assets you value most. Hit him up today. Go to AriesLawPA.com. Schedule your free consultation. He will take care of you. Let him know Kane's Insight sent you. I think people, when they may not listen to the rest of the show if they listen to the beginning, because they may have been annoyed by me at the front of it. But Chris Brown, who has been a little upset at my position here, says, "Hey Pete, would you rather Lance Guidry and Travis Jackson back?" I think that kind of makes my point. There were people here before those guys, right? Like you now can hire at a different level. I don't think they're going to be bringing someone from Marshall as the position coach, but there were coaches here before them, and that's who was hired. So right. That's where my concern is like, it's not like it's been 100% hit rate on these hires. And I'm not putting that on Mario. It's a very tough thing to do. And there's a lot of like synergy that goes into place. How do they work with, which is what you talked about with Will Harris D. So that's where I'm like sitting back and waiting, because we'll see. And even if then the hire is announced, we'll have a reaction to it. But I will be in wait and see mode.
as long as that red beard is on the sidelines, which is not a guarantee, things happen. But as long as that red beard is on the sideline and Miami has the talent they have, the money they have, the clout they have now, just coming off a national championship, I feel my panic mode is not engaged. That's why there's a question mark. But on this clickbait. But look, if that red beard is out the door, maybe it's an destination point. We'll see, man. I agree with you on one thing, which is every assistant coach in America is trying to go to the pros, at least the position coaches, and we don't know when that's going to be done. So I agree with you on that. So we'll have to stay tuned.
Halloween in February, man. Scary times.
Valentine's Day in February. You are loved. You said it yesterday.
Valentine's Day is over for me, man. Valentine's Day is over for me, man.
All right.
The girlfriend's laughing in the other room, like, I don't know where you got that idea.
You got the orchids. She's admiring her beautiful orchid.
The orchid, man.
All right, man. Like and subscribe. Over 1,000 on a Saturday morning in February. That's how we do it. Like and subscribe. Go Canes.
Go Canes.